right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and I want to first start off by saying I am sorry for not releasing this episode on time. I usually get this one out to you guys on Tuesdays at 5 a.m., so it's coming to you a bit later, but here it is, and we're going to get right into it. Now, the message that I want to share with you today is off the top of my head, and there's really no notes, but it's something that's really important that you hear today. And that is the word no is a complete sentence, and it does not need any explanation from you to say it, right? I know that might be harsh or seem a little much when you're thinking of the scenarios to say no to, but hear me out, right? You only have a limited amount of time and energy and effort that you can put into any one person, any one activity, or any day in your life, right? So we have a limited amount of resources, we have a limited amount of energy, and if we are someone listening to this, you're probably trying to better your life in some way, shape, or form. You probably want to improve your health, you probably want to have nice relationships, live happy, experience different things, and in order to do that, we cannot let our energy be diluted or wasted on things that are negative, that people that steal our energy, and activities that are not benefiting us in some way, shape, or form, right? And this is super, I don't want to say super hard, but it is in a world where we have access to so much information to everyone at all times, right? We could pull up our phone right now and have information on any topic. We could call anyone in our phone book, no matter where they are in the world. We could interact on social media with people literally across the world. We could comment on their posts, we could like it, we could scroll and watch videos of people on their vacation, we could learn on social media. Like, there's so many different things that could be taking our time and our energy and our focus just from our phone alone, not even talking about all of the other things in the world. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is not only because if you strive to improve yourself, it's stealing your energy, but the amount of effort and time and consistency that it takes to create momentum and positive inertia towards one of those goals is a lot. And you don't want to waste that inertia, that momentum that you have on something that really is not going to benefit you anyway and is such a short-lived experience. So hear me out, right? Like, we all know, we've heard the phrase that consistency beats all. If you're trying to improve your health, maybe you've been working out a few times a week, you're eating cleaner, you're going for walks, you're doing all of the steps, right? And you do that for a week, 2 weeks, a few months, and you really start to feel good. But what happens is, when you start to feel good, that becomes your new normal, and you don't realize how bad it feels when you're drinking a bunch, or when you're eating like crap, or when you're hanging around certain people. And then an event comes up, right? It's been a couple months and you've been really on the ball, and you say, you know what, this weekend getaway might sound fun, right? You're going with the girls, or you're going to see a new city. And I'm not here to tell you not to go. Let's back up before you think I'm just going to ruin all your plans and be this boring person the rest of your life. But what I am trying to say is you have to be super aware of when you're going off of your normal routine. You see, humans are built off of patterns, and we're built off of these regular things, these systems that we run off of. And when you go off of those systems, things change. So again, you're eating good, you're exercising, you're in your routine, and then this weekend getaway comes, and then all of a sudden you are staying up later than you normally would, you're drinking a bunch, you're eating foods that you normally wouldn't, and you feel like crap. But not only do you feel like, there is this sense of, like, not the feeling of starting over, but this sense of that you lost that momentum that you once had. That's that feeling that you're telling yourself when you say, I need to start over on Monday, or I need to reset next month. That's what you're experiencing, is you're experiencing momentum that you once had that you lost, and you're trying to start, moving that train down the tracks again. And I'll stop saying you and just put it into my own perspective, because this is a lesson that I just experienced and have done before that I wanted to share with you, right? Life is not easy, but it was going well, right? Like, I'm working hard with my clients. I'm building relationships with other business owners, working on myself, my health, right? Getting my strength training sessions in, eating clean. And then we had a trip to Nashville. So my sister-in-law just graduated from college, so I decided that I wanted to go, right? And down there's not much that's different, right? It's in America, right? I have access to clean water, clean food, all the resources that I need, but because I was out of that normal environment, I went ahead and I didn't really exercise. When I say I didn't, right? We walked a good amount of steps, but it didn't exercise. I ate whatever I wanted when I was there, like chicken sandwiches, burgers, ice cream. And again, in moderation, that's okay, but it was like an everyday occurrence. And just things were off my normal routine. And that led me to feel like the momentum that I had created was now ceased and I need to start again. And that can be frustrating, right? And I'm here, back on my schedule, and nothing really has changed. It was only one weekend, not long of a time. None of my clients was affected by me going, and things are okay. But internally, this is how I felt, is that I needed to get a good workout in. I need to eat some clean food, drink a lot of water, get back on my sleep schedule, and those things needed to be adjusted. Now, what I'm trying to say is that in order to live a life where you get to experience fun things like going out with friends, going on vacations, doing things out of your ordinary, basic schedule, then you need to prepare for those, right? Because you shouldn't say no to a birthday celebration or a vacation. You should do those things for sure, but you should plan accordingly so that all of the momentum and the effort that you've been putting in doesn't totally get lost. And the way we do that is, number one, planning, number two, moderation, and three is sometimes a little bit of sacrifice. So for myself, if I said, you know what, I'm going to Nashville, I'm going to have a good time, there's family down there, we want to sit back and enjoy, maybe try a few different things, like eat some fried chicken or have dessert once while I was down there, but don't go full-fledged overboard, right? You have to say, okay, I'm there for 4 days. I'll pack some workout gear so that I can schedule some time in to get a walk in or do some body weight stuff. Now you're exercising while you're there, and maybe it's 30 minutes instead of an hour. Maybe it's body weight instead of weights. Maybe it's in the garage instead of in the gym. That's fine, but you're still doing some type of effort that was a part of your routine that's going to keep the momentum going. That's like the workout portion of it. Maybe it's the hydration part of it, and you normally drink 80 ounces of water a day. Maybe you can't get that, right? I didn't have my big Yeti 40-ounce water bottle, but maybe I had smaller water bottles, and I made a point to have a couple of those so that I at least had 60 ounces of water a day. I wasn't tracking my water at all, and I felt dehydrated at times, right? That can be a thing that you do. When it comes to eating, for a fact when you're on vacation or you're in a different scenario that your eating isn't going to be exactly the same as when you're cooking at home. That's okay. But I have to tell myself, I really want one, fried chicken meal that I'll have. But the other things, I make the modifications, and maybe you have eggs with breakfast instead of pancakes, or maybe you don't get a bun on something and you just put it into a salad. Like that's what Gianna, my wife, did. Instead of having her chicken sandwich, she put it in a salad. These are the modifications that you can make to still go and enjoy your life and not totally say, you know what, screw it. I'm going off the rails here. Because what happens is you'll get done and you'll feel like that momentum has stopped. But on the flip side, you can go and make the modifications like I talked about, like maybe working out in the garage, maybe having no bun with your chicken sandwich, maybe drinking 4 bottles of water instead of 5, right? Like you're still doing the certain things that you did, but slightly modified. You're going to get done that trip or get done that event and say, wow, it really wasn't that hard, and I still feel good. I still controlled the controllables in my life, and I was able to stay on track and keep this momentum going. So now when you get back into your routine at home or whatever that may be, you just hit the ground running and you continue pushing forward instead of feeling like this sense of overwhelm and like, I need to detox, I need to reset my whole system. right? Because that's not what I want for you. And that's not what I want for myself. And that's why I'm sharing it, guys, because this weekend I didn't go crazy. Nothing was like I didn't get drunk or anything like that, but it's simply throwing yourself off your routine enough to feel like crap and to mentally feel like you need to reset. And now, how does this come into play with your friends, your relatives, and just everyday life? Is that goes back to the original sentence I said when I started this, is that no is a complete sentence and you don't need to explain yourself. Because although there are circumstances where you can go on vacation and make modifications, you can be in environments and adjust things so that you keep the momentum, you still drink your water, you're still getting your exercise, you're still sticking to your plan, even if it's outside of your home and your normal work schedule. There are also times where you can just say no, and that's okay, right? There's some sacrifice that has to come from you wanting what you want and your goals and your ambitions more than what you think the event might be, right? Like, let's say you're going through your life and things are going well at work, at home, your relationship's good, you're feeling good physically because you've been exercising and sleeping well and hydrating and all the good things, right? You're feeling good. And then someone invites you to, let's use the analogy again, a weekend getaway, right? And that weekend getaway, is going to involve later nights than you normally would. It's going to involve alcohol. It's going to involve maybe a couple people who lower your energy and you're not the biggest fan of. But you try to look at the positive side and you say, oh, it might be good to go to this spot and you never get to talk to this person anymore and it might be good to catch up, right? That's you trying to reason with your good conscience and try to make something good out of it, right? Meanwhile, the other half of you is saying, oh my gosh, you've been doing so good recently, you feel good, you really don't want to go, but you're just trying to be nice, and you have to battle this conversation in your head and really make a decision. Now, I've been the person plenty of times, please, when I tell you, I still do this sometimes to today, where I'll say yes. And I'll say, you know what? I'll come anyway. We'll make something fun of it. And the same result happens every time. I regret it. I didn't really have that much fun. I have to deal with this feeling of starting over and reflush my body of the toxins and like this. It's this whole like multiple day experience where maybe you got sick because your energy and your immune system was so low. You feel hungover. Just things are out of whack, and it takes you a lot of hard work and effort to get right back on the track. Now, all of that could have been alleviated if you just say no. It doesn't have to be an insult to anyone. You don't need to say, oh, my dog's in the hospital. You don't need to say that you have this other event. You could just say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate it, but I'm going to have to pass this time. And it can stop there. Like, you could have an explanation to say, I'm really, not feeling it or whatever. You could say something nicely and in a soft tone. You don't have to be aggressive and say, screw you, I don't like you or whatever. That doesn't have to happen. But you do have to choose yourself before putting those other scenarios in front of you, or else you're going to have to deal with this conversation in your head of feeling regret and feeling like you have to restart and get back on track. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. And in order to alleviate that whole conversation and alleviate you feeling bad, you have to have that comfortable or that uncomfortable conversation or statement of just saying, you know what? I'm really sorry. I can't make it. Right? And that's it. It could be someone inviting you to go to the movies. It could be a weekend getaway. It could be a conversation on the phone. Like, someone could literally call you on the phone and you have a split decision to say, you know what, if I answer this, it's going to stop me from doing this task that I was doing. It's probably going to be an hour-long phone call. They're probably going to be gossiping. It's going to be negative energy. And I just don't need that right now. So that quick decision could be, you know what, I'm going to let it go to voicemail. And that's okay too. That's a little bit easier than someone asking you to, hang out, go out to dinner, or go on a weekend getaway. But still, these are the same conversations that we need to be having with ourselves and choosing ourselves first. And that might sound a little selfish and a little like over the top, but it's really not. Because think about it this way, right? Everyone is trying to better themselves. Everyone is trying to get the most experience they can out of this lifetime, right? And if someone asks you to do something that you know is against your morals, your ethics, or it's just going to make you feel bad and have low energy, and you say yes to it, well, then guess what? They're going to have to go live their life and deal with themselves. But then you are the one who has to then maybe feel a little bit bad afterwards, feel hungover, mentally sabotage yourself, and physically and energetically stop the momentum that you once had. So really, who are you serving by doing that? Right? Like, yeah, there might have been some fun things, but in the long run, was it really worth it? Right? And this doesn't mean that you have to be a bad friend. It just means that you need to put your foot down and choose yourself first. And then there's other scenarios in life that, yeah, maybe you go out on a limb to help someone. That's okay. These are going to happen sometimes. But the point in this episode, in this conversation, is that we are bombarded with opportunities to essentially do things or put others before ourselves that is going to ultimately stop or slow down the progress that we're making. And it's not worth it in the end. You hear a lot of people, like I work with women who are older, like in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And these are women who have lived a lot of life, and they'll tell me, you know what, Sean, I got to a point where I just, I didn't care anymore. Like, I'm just going to do what makes my energy feel good and do what makes me feel the best. And honestly, we need to learn that lesson a lot earlier. And I'm trying to embody it at 31 right now and continue to remind myself that these women are right. My mom used to tell me, when she was in her 50s, she would say, Sean, it took me until I was 55 to realize that it didn't matter what other people think and I need to do what's best for myself anyway, right? Like things like that. And I would listen and I'd say, you know what, you're right. And I'm trying to embody that now. And that's why I'm sharing this story. Because guess what? If you're still someone at whatever age you are listening to this, if you're still someone who is constantly putting other people first or going in environments that don't serve you, you need to stop that right now. Because if you have any goal of feeling better, if you have any goal of improving your health and living out your true potential, then that's going to stop you. That's going to be a surefire way to not get there, because you are a product of your environment. And I promise you, I've done this in my own life. I see it all the time. When you're with certain people, you can influence their decisions and they will influence your decisions. And we talked about this on another podcast, right? Like even when it comes to choosing what you want to eat, if we're at this fried chicken place and the first person orders and is like, you know what, I'm going to do a salad instead of the sandwich, and instead of the fries, I'll just have some fruit on the side. The next person might really quick say, you know what, I'll do the same thing. And then the third person says, you know what, me too, that sounds really good, I'll do that. And then all of a sudden, you all have a slightly healthier meal and you've all become a little bit, elevated in life. The opposite stands true, right? Where someone says, you know what, screw it. Give me the fries. I want, this is literally what I ordered. The fries, the mac and cheese, the chicken sandwich. And then the next person might say, man, you know what? Sean's having that? That sounds pretty good. Like he usually eats healthy, but he's having that right now. I'll have that too. And this is what happens. It happens in every circumstance, whether you want to have an alcoholic beverage, whether you want to, whatever you want to do, you are motivated and you are influenced by the people who you're surrounding yourself by. So if you know that simply saying no to a situation can save you from even being tempted with those scenarios, you'll feel good. You'll feel immediately better, and you'll know if you made the right decision two ways. Right when the conversation happens, how do you feel? Like if you feel like a weight's off your chest and like you kind of saved yourself, number one, that's a good situation. And then afterwards, when the situation has happened and you're still feeling good about it, like the weekend's over or the event's over, and you're like, man, I am super glad I stayed in tonight because I have a lot of energy right now. I slept good, right? Like there's been times where we've gone to events that were going to keep us out later than what our normal bedtime was. And don't you know it, we get back, get poor sleep. We ate later than we normally would. We ate different food than we normally would. And I felt like crap for 1 to 2 days afterwards. Now, was 2 days of me having low energy and not being as present and energized as I could for my clients worth it to go to that event? No, it wasn't. I don't want to sit here and ramble and give you a million different scenarios and things that I've lived through because I could be here all day. I just wanted a short episode to say that again. No is a complete sentence, and you do not need to explain yourself when you want to say it, because ultimately, when you say no to things that are low energy, not in line with your goals, not in line with your standards, and they're throwing you off the momentum that you've created, you are ultimately saying yes to yourself and your better potential and the higher version of yourself, which is what we're shooting for anyway. So remember that, again, you don't need to explain this to anybody. You can say no, you can protect yourself, and you can live your highest potential every single time that you do that. So guys, I appreciate you listening, and I know this was a short one, but if it landed with you, and this is something that you think other people would get benefit from, please share them the show. Tell them about this. We go and post these every Tuesday. So it's a weekly episode and just sharing my thoughts. I'm going to be having some guests on in the near future. And it's just me talking about health, personal development, living your best life, and sharing my personal experiences. So I will see you guys next time.